All right. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Bass Thumbs Fishing Podcast. And tonight, I just kind of want to introduce the newest addition to the Bass Thumbs family. This is little Miss Lainey Rain Lamont. She was born a day after my birthday at 4 a.m. She almost hit my birthday, and it's just been an incredible experience. My wife, Kristen, absolutely crushed the whole birth thing. And man, it was just such a special moment to have. And I just wanted to kind of share it with you guys. And I can't wait to get her out there on the water with us. My son Oliver has picked up fishing like I've never seen a 3-year-old pick up fishing before. So I know she's probably going to be fishing with us as well. And yeah, I just kind of want to intro the night like that. So my wife's going to take her right now, and then we'll kind of get the show started. So love you, baby. Thanks, babe. Alrighty, guys. Well, welcome to the Bass Thumbs Fishing Podcast, where we are constantly trying to keep our thumbs ripped up. Tonight, we have a really cool episode lined up for you guys. And honestly, welcome to 2023. We're just about a week or so into 2023, and we've already had a couple events out west in Arizona. But we also had a big event up north for the California Bass Nation Kayak Series and the Wild West Bass Trail Kayak Series. They were up at Lake Shasta. The weather was pretty intense, and I cannot wait to hear tonight how Mr. Greg Blanchard and Mr. Grif Garrabrant won each of the events. So there was a dual event going on. Greg won the California Bass Nation side. He was not in the Wild West. So Grif came in second in Bass Nation and won the Wild West side of it. So, man, congratulations. I can't wait to hear tonight. I'm also going to be having my co-host with me, who co-hosts with me when we had Damien on the show. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Anthony in really quick. What's up, Ants?
What's happening, everybody? Happy New Year.
G Team Outdoors. Ants, really quick, dude. For those of you guys that follow Anthony, he just went on like this crazy hunting trip and shot like this giant deer with a bow. Do you want to talk about that just really quick before we bring these guys in here?
Yeah, it's nothing special. I mean, Arizona, we went on that over-the-counter tag that a lot of people are doing now. It got really popular. And yeah, no, me and my girlfriend were out there for 2 weeks, scouted for a week, found a buck, found actually a lot of bucks, and ended up putting one down on New Year's Day.
Dude, that was a huge deer. How far away were you from the deer when you shot it? Because you shot it with a bow, right?
Yeah, 82 yards.
Dang.
Yeah.
And so you did a ton of practice before that, and just that was like your one shot.
I mean, I shot. It was basically like the first deer that we saw, but we had been seeing other bucks. But it was a buck that I knew if I saw when the season opened, I was gonna take or try to take, and it gave me the opportunity. And I, like Shane said, I was practicing my ass off before the season started, and I mean, I knew it was a dead deer. And then after that, it was just basically trying to get Mandy a deer. And that
So
didn't.
really quick, after you shoot the deer, like you literally like pick, I'm totally green about hunting. You literally like pick that thing up and just like walk it back to your truck, or like
No,
how
no,
does that work?
you tag it. Like, first thing you gotta do, no matter where you are in the United States, I'm pretty sure, is tag it. Put your tag on it, then you gut it out. You kind of like take all the intestines out of the body cavity to not spoil the meat, and then from there you could quarter it up and put it in your backpack and hike it to wherever your vehicle is.
So you full on eat that whole like you eat all of it, like that's your jam for the next like year or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. It'll go to like friends and family too. I mean, a
I
lot.
wish I could have got the picture. I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but it was a big deer. Like it was no like tiny guy. It was, what is that, like a 6 point, or what is that? No, an 8 point.
No, out here west we go 3x3.
Okay,
Uh, if
I'm totally
you're on
green.
the East Coast, then you would go like you count all the points together and then say like that.
That's super
Yeah,
rad, dude.
it was super.
Was that your first one with a bow?
Mm-mm.
No? Okay.
No, my dad got me into bow hunting when I was like 2 years old.
Okay.
Archery, not bow hunting.
Well, again, for those of you guys who don't know, this is Anthony with G Team Outdoors. If you guys want to follow him, go ahead and give him a follow on YouTube and Instagram. But he's going to be my co-host for tonight. And like I said, tonight we're going to be covering the Shasta event, which is basically the first event out here in California. They call it the Winter Classic because over the past, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, sorry if I get some misinformation on this, but like Shasta has always been kind of like that season opener for quite some time. And I've never been able to get up there to fish it, but I've always wanted to. Being in SoCal, it's a little tough to get all the way up there, especially when you have a 1 week old at home. But I'm sure I'll get up there in the future because it looks like a lot of fun. These guys were catching, quite a few fish on a variety of different baits. And whenever that's happening, it's always fun to be out there. But like I said, the weather was insane. Like, I saw like incredible, like gnarly strong winds, and it was pretty cold, and the rain was like nonstop. So I can't wait to hear how these guys kind of approach this event and how they ended up getting the victory. But first, before I bring them in, I wanted to give a little bit of a shout out to the top 5 of each event. So I'm going to start with the Wild West side. We had Griffith Garrabrant with 80.5 inches, who took the win. And then there was 43 anglers, by the way, 127 fish caught. And then we had Damian Thau with 79.25. No surprise there. I mean, freaking Damian. And then third place, John Myers. No surprise there either. 78.5. Congrats, John. And then we had Kong Her with 77.25. And then rounding out the top 5, we had Gino Magno with 75 inches. Now going over to the Bass Nation side of things, Greg Blanchard took first place with 82 inches. And then we had Grif Garrabrant with 80.5 inches. Jamie McTargart with 80 inches in third place. Damian Tao took fourth place, 79.25. And then we had John Myers, 78.5. And there was 42 anglers at the Bass Nation event, 156 fish caught. So, Anthony, have you ever fished Shasta before?
I did. I was
You
there
did.
for the Bass Nation opener they had last year. And it was
So from what I understand about Shasta, there isn't a ton of giant fish,
Mhm.
but I did see the weigh-in on Saturday of the team event for Wild West, and the guys that took first place held up a couple big fish. Like they won with 15 pounds. And from what I understand, it's a pretty big sack up at Shasta. And I wish I could have had the picture to show you guys, but there was a couple big ones caught in the bass boat tournament. And then I believe the biggest fish of our tournament that we're covering tonight was around 19 inches. I think Grif had it. I could be wrong. I'll ask Greg when he gets on here, but I think it was around 19 inches was a big fish. So it's kind of a tough place for size, but it sounds like a fun lake for numbers. Is that right?
Yeah, no, I've fished it in the past, like way before I started tournament fishing, and we were catching like 80 fish days, like nothing. But like you said, they're not big, and that's like usually not the norm, but that's what you go up to Shasta for, to just wreck them. So when I was there, it sucked. I mean, catching the limit was amazing, and I think that's how it was this time too. The weather just screwed it up for everybody.
Yeah, but there's always guys that figure them out. And one thing before I want to address right before we bring Greg in, we're going to bring Greg in first. I just want to give a huge shout out to Yak Attack. John Hipsher over at Yak Attack has been supporting me for the last couple years, and I'm on the team at Yak Attack. And tonight we are going to be giving away the new Black Pack Pro. It's going to be the 13x16, but you can maybe pick a different size and a different color if you would like. So if you win that, we're going to probably do it towards the end of the show a little bit, but you have to be listening live in the chat. I'll put up a hashtag and we'll spin the wheel and see who wins that Black Pack Pro. So hang tight. There's going to be a lot of good information tonight. And I just want to give a huge shout out to Yak Attack. And last but not least, again, I'm so thankful that I was able to come on with GSM Outdoors. As you guys can see behind me, I recently got like one of those boxes where you're just like, wow, I can't believe that just happened. Yamamoto and Bill Lewis sent me like tons of baits, and I'm so stoked to be a part of their team. And it's just an honor to be a part of that team, and I'm so thankful for their support. And that those opportunities can't happen to myself and the page without all you guys listening and supporting. So huge shout out to you guys as well. And hopefully the content this year, there's going to be a lot of podcasts. I'm going to try to cover all the major events that I possibly can in California specifically, and also get out on the water as much as I possibly can. So be on the lookout for a lot of content, and appreciate all you guys. So with that being said, Anthony, let's bring in Mr. Greg Blanchard. What's going
What's
on,
up,
Greg?
guys? Hey, what's happening? Hey, Shane, congrats on the new edition, man. Very cool.
Oh, thank you, bro. I appreciate that. You look a little beat up, man. I know you had a little bit of a tough event out there. I watched your
Yeah, dude.
practice. I watched your practice video, and there was definitely some crazy wins, and but
Man,
you
oh
got to
man.
figure it out, dude. So congratulations on your win, man.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it was crazy out there. I mean, probably some of the craziest conditions I've ever fished in. I mean, wind, it wasn't necessarily the wind, it was the gusts. The gusts were, I think, on Saturday, 30, 35 mile an hour in one particular area. And they'd come out of nowhere. And that in combination with the rain, my God, the rain was just, I mean, we were soaked. I mean, it was it was
Yeah,
quite the adventure. So I am a little bit beat up. It was a grinder. You just put in all that work. You pre-fish as hard as you can. You fish as hard as you can on tournament day. You drive home 3 hours, and then obviously, you get, for me at least, getting the footage and start working on the videos. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot more rewarding when you actually win and do well. And it was a good feeling. I was fortunate for sure.
so like I said, I was glad I was able to watch your practice video because now I have a little bit better of an understanding of how your day went. And I've been out on the water with you before when we fished out in Texas together. I know you're an absolute grinder. No matter how tough the fishing is, you grind it out all the way to the end. And on practice day, you were kind of, baffled by the wind, and then you moved spots and you started to get bit. You want to talk a little bit about that mental grind, because this tournament only allowed you to practice for one day.
Yeah, that mental grind, that's a good word for it. So I mean, just to kind of start from the beginning, myself and Alden, we got up there Thursday, or yeah, Friday night, sorry, Friday night. It's about a 3.5 hour drive for me. So we got there, we knew what the weather was going to be like. Gusty, I think 10 to 15 mile an hour winds, 30, 35 mile an hour gusts on Saturday, 100% chance of rain. It's not the warmest out there. I think it was like 44 degrees. So our plan was actually to go to a skinnier part of the lake. I mean, at any other time, unless it was a tournament, I'm not fishing in these conditions. I think everybody can say that. But we went up north to a launch called Sugarloaf. It's one of the skinniest arms of Shasta, and we just figured like this would be protected water. If anything, we'll be able to get out of the wind. But as soon as we got up there that morning, it was just blowing, coming down rain, gusty. We got out there, everything was chocolate milk, just didn't look fishy. And I think after about 3 hours, we decided this is not going to happen. There's no way we're coming back here on tournament day. So I think around 11 o'clock, or maybe 10:30, we packed up and then we headed down to the southern arm of the lake. It's called the Pit arm of Shasta. And I was nervous. I was nervous because the wind, the gusts, I figured on the main lake, the bigger water, that would be like the sketchy stuff. And I couldn't imagine, getting down there and fishing the rest of the day. But I mean, come tournament mode, I think it's like this for a lot of us. You get competitive. You want to do well, and you can't see yourself going back to the motel room or something like that. I mean, that's just silly. But to our surprise, we got down there. It was like calm, dead calm. I think the rain even stopped. We're like, what the heck? This is like a totally different body of water right here. And immediately it looked a lot better. That said, we went out there. One big difference was a lot of standing trees, flooded timber. Obviously with this rain, the water's coming up. And it's, the water had some tinge to it, muddy in the creek where we launched, but once you got closer to the main lake, it was a little bit cleaner. But dude, your question, mental grind, I still was not getting bit. I was throwing all my confidence baits. Those trees look super fishy. Whether there was a crankbait, a rig, jerk bait, you just figure there'd be fish somewhere. And I think my first bite of the day was at about 2 o'clock. So about an hour left to pre-fish. First bite of the day, again after battling the elements and just being cold and wet and changing launches. That's all a lot of work. That's a lot of energy. And first bite 2 o'clock on a little finesse jig, really a bait that I just have a lot of confidence with on Shasta in particular this time of year. So that was something. It was on a point, kept running different points to see if it was any sort of pattern. Got two more bites on points on a jig in about 15 to 20 foot of water. So yeah, that was my practice. Finished out that last hour, this hour with those three bites, and I was happy to have them. It was looking like a big skunker on pre-fish. But yeah, like you said, the mental grind, especially when the weather's nasty. It's one thing if it's like a nice day out and you're fishing and you're chilling, and that's one thing. But without weather, it hurts a little bit more.
I mean, especially when you're fishing in the wind with no XI3, bro.
Yeah. Get that plug in there, man. Yeah. I mean, honestly, that probably was very nice to have for the people that had it. I mean, I'm sure that was a great thing to have, because I think with these tournaments, at least for me, there's a couple of key spots that you definitely wanted to hold on to, make the right cast. So, and we can talk about it, but making casts at certain angles seemed to be important to me. So, no, that probably actually would have helped a little bit.
One quick thing that I was gonna bring up, and like I talked about, the mental grind till 2:00. You have an hour left of practice. It's your first tournament of the year. It's cold, it's windy, and you haven't had a single bite the entire day. And then from 2 to 3, you get a few key bites, and then the next day you end up winning the event. Dude, that's incredible, man. Like, do you want to touch on like that hour, like what that can do? Like, that just goes to show you guys, like, I know it's like kind of a cheesy term, but like never give up is like, it's all the way down to like that final hour, 30 minutes where everything can just change that fast.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah, and it's funny. I feel like more often than not, the tournaments that I do well in, it's not a great practice. It's not a fantastic pre-fish. I actually can't even really remember a tournament where I maybe got top 3 and just smashed them in practice. There's been a few where you catch a couple of good ones, but for me, I feel like it's always just getting like a little piece of the puzzle on practice, a little hint. And really what it comes down to is on tournament day, you use that piece, you use your hints, you go off of that, and then you expand on that during tournament day, and then you make the right decisions, you fish clean. But I knew, in my head, just getting those few bites on the jig, and I knew it was a tough bite. I could tell it was a tough bite, the doc talk and everything like that. It was a tough bite. So the fact that I was able to get bit on a jig in particular, I like the fact when I get bit on a jig. That's something that I have a lot of confidence in, just as far as catching better quality fish. That actually made me feel okay. So did I think I was going to win the tournament after pre-fish? No, I didn't think there was. I mean, there's always a chance, but I wasn't like super excited about it. But I was happy to have that little piece of the puzzle. And I always say in this, in my videos, like, it's fishing, anything can happen. There could be 10 minutes left in a tournament and you have 0 fish and you can still win the tournament. It can happen that fast. So it's just something that I try to keep in my mentality, at least.
Anthony, if you want to hop in here, like at any moment, go for it, man. One thing I wanted to remind all the listeners, if you guys have a question for Greg, this is like a very interactive podcast and show. So if you guys have a question and I see it, I'll throw it at him if it kind of flows with what we're talking about. Or if you guys have a random question, that's cool. But Anthony, you have anything for Greg about Shasta? Because you've been there.
I know you have history on Shasta. Did that play into that at all? Because I mean, I know you already won an event there, so that confidence had to be there. You knew the fishing was going to be tough.
Yeah, no, that's a good question, man. Yes, it did, because like I said, that second launch was the Pitt River Arm. It's Jones Valley Launch Ramp, I believe it's called. And when I won the event back in 2019, which may have been my first win in California, I want to say. And probably one of maybe the biggest kayak tournament wins I've ever had. It was a Hobie event, and it was just a big one. It meant a lot to me. But that is exactly where I fished back in 2019. That Pitt River Arm, not the exact same spots. I mean, to be honest, it was funny. As me and Alden were on the water, saw like this giant, like, mountaintop, 40, 50 feet above the water. It's like, that's where I caught the winning fish in 2019, way up there. I mean, yeah,
Dang.
The water's super low, obviously, compared to then. I think it was almost full pool back in 2018. But it's back on the rise, still low. But that area, I guess you could call it history. I think I just I knew the lay of the land a little bit better, and found some found some different stuff. One thing that's interesting though is that part of Shasta has, like I was saying, a ton of trees, flooded timber. I mean, anywhere from 50 foot to 10 foot, and it just looks fishy. It almost looks like a place you'd fish in Texas, like Fork or something like that. But for me, there were hardly any fish in those trees that I could get to bite. I didn't get I maybe had one bite in the trees, and it wasn't even on a moving or reaction bait. It was another jig fish. But yeah, I like that part of the lake. It's treated me well, so it'd be hard not to go there the next time we're at Shasta.
So I got a couple questions coming in, mostly about your practice. There's a couple longer ones, but kind of a quick one that you can hit by my buddy Paul. Do you stick fish in practice? And he might not have seen your video yet, but you did stick a few.
Yeah. I mean, I think it depends on the time of year, the situation.
Probably felt good after 8 hours.
Oh, dude, 2:00. If I haven't stuck, I'm swinging. I don't even care. I need to set the hook just for a mental health purpose. But yeah, I stick fish during practice. I like to get ideas to the size. There's only been honestly only a few occasions where I found a lot of fish and just left. And it didn't even work out. The fish were gone the next day. But I will stick them in practice. I just like catching fish too, Yeah. Yeah.
Here's another one. Did you start tourney day where you caught the jig fish in practice?
Yes. So the first bite of the day at 2:00, I think I actually started just a little, maybe like 50 yards shy of that. There was one point right before that. And then I fished that, no bites, and then tournament day, I went right to that first spot, and I think I caught 3 in 30 minutes, small spots. So I was like, wow, this worked out. I got a bite here, set the waypoint, come back on tournament day, basically first thing in the morning and get 3 keepers. Already caught as many fish as I did yesterday in 30 minutes. So that was a nice bonus, a nice, confidence booster when you can get 3 fish on what seems to be a pretty stingy fishery right off the get-go.
I feel like when Greg starts getting bit on a kayak finesse jig with that flapping hog, everyone better watch out, because that's been your juice for a while.
Yeah, I like that bait. It's just a fun way to catch them. Like I said, I think it catches a little bit better quality fish. I think you can get a really good feel for the bottom too. It's a half-ounce tungsten jig head. You cast it out, it sinks down there. You're not, dead sticking a drop shot or something. You can really feel what's on the bottom, if it's rock or clay, something like that. And that was another thing too. And we talked about this in the other podcast we did last night, was it seemed to be that a lot of these fish were relating to rock. Not a lot of rock, not big chunk rock. And I think John Myers was the one that actually pointed it out to me, made me realize that the rocks had to be like the size of a fist. So there was like kind of medium-sized rocks. And for me, not a whole ton of them, and not a ton of trees nearby either. So it's kind of one of those interesting things.
Good old John has no shame in spilling the juice.
Yeah, he was right though.
He'll still schwack them no matter what.
Oh yeah, it doesn't matter. John will still catch them.
Yeah. Let's see here. I had a question pop up that I wanted to throw by you too. How was practice with 100+ bass boats on the water? Because there was a big tournament, but I didn't even see any boats in your video.
That was the crazy part. First launch, I think we saw 2 all the way up Sugarloaf, which is it's pretty far run for bass boats. I think we saw 2 up there. And I want to say I saw maybe 4 or 5 down in the pit arm. So I have no idea where all 109 boats were. And they weren't there. Maybe they were in the main lake area, more towards the main lake. But yeah, that actually surprised me. I was like, where is everybody? Kind of made me nervous, actually.
And do you do any mods to that flapping hog? Do you peel one part off or anything, or you just kind of throw it as is? You spill any juice about that?
Yeah. Half-ounce kayak finesse jig. It's actually green pumpkin with blue flake. There's 2 colors. There's green pumpkin, and then there's some with some blue specks. And it's very subtle, but I like it. It's a confidence thing for me. And then for that flapping hog, it's 3.75 inch, the smaller flapping hog, green pumpkin, and I cut about a 1/4 inch off of the base and thread that on there. And that's it. That's it.
You said you did what? You cut off anything
About
on
a
it?
quarter inch. So right where that those two little balls stick out,
Like this
you cut
much?
those off. Yeah, get rid of
Okay,
the
perfect.
balls. Yeah, there you go.
Get rid of the balls. All right.
Yeah, and
There
then
you
you
go.
cut the rest of the appendages off. You cut all the claws off too, and then
The juice.
yeah, that is good bait. It's good bait.
Sweet. Let's see what else we got coming in. Ants, you got anything to roll as we got a ton of questions. I can't get them all, but go, you got anything, Ants?
No, not right now.
Let's
It was
I don't know if you posted it, Greg, or if it was public yet, or how much did you end up taking home that day for bass?
$3,000.
That is awesome. That's a solid payday for 42 anglers. Heck yeah.
I know it was. I'll tell you another statistic off air, but it was a good payday. It was a nice little chunk of change. And again, those grinder tournaments where you make the 3.5 hour drive, you book lodging, and you put a lot of money. I mean, everybody knows it costs a lot of money to go to these tournaments and do
Yep.
them, and obviously the time. It's nice when you can kind of get some of that back.
I've really seen, like, over the last maybe 2 years, like, the entry fees obviously have gone up over certain circuits, especially in California. But like, it's been awesome for us to travel up and then for you guys to travel down with those bigger paydays, because like you said, it takes quite a bit to travel up and travel down. So to have a day like you had, grind it out all day, win, and you're able to bring home a decent amount of money, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, I don't know, it just makes it all just so much sweeter when you have like that little bit of a better payday, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a nice feeling for sure, and like I said, it ain't cheap to do these tournaments. I mean, you guys know, everyone that travels, especially you guys that come from SoCal up here, do like the Clear Lake one. I can't even imagine how much coin you guys drop to come to Clear Lake for a week. That's got to be thousands. So
That's why you
yeah.
always see like 15 of us in an Airbnb.
Yeah, that's true. That helps.
So, one thing I wanted to kind of go through too, and you mentioned it in a video, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. What's your kind of plans for 23 now that you probably had, a start that you were not really expecting, but now it's like you got some momentum and you got some cash in the bank. Like, what's next for you?
I mean, tournament wise, probably a lot of the local stuff that we do every year out here. The Yak Attack event is actually the next event. The next tournament's in February, Lake Oroville up near Chico. So that's where the Sierra Nevada Brewery is. I'm excited for that one. It'll just be a good time with the fellas, and then that brewery is awesome. The food's great. Obviously, the beer's great. And Oroville has come up like 100 feet in the past month. That's no joke.
Wow.
It's insane. And I think it's actually like 200 feet from almost full pool. Not almost, but it's getting there. It might be there by the time we get there. So it fished good last year, even though it was really low. So I'm excited for that one. And then, other Yak Attack events throughout the year. I think we're on the Delta a couple of times, Lake Tulloch, more California Bass Nation events, just like this one we just had on Shasta. I think they're on the Delta, Bullard's Bar. I can't say that I'll make every event in every circuit. It's hard with scheduling. But
any out of state or any traveling?
Yeah. So New York, it'll be interesting. There's a few big tournaments in New York. I mean, of course, you've got the NYKBF series in New York, which I love. They're on Cayuga Lake in May. I think it's early May, the first weekend of May. And that's usually when I time that trip. So I'll probably do that. There's a Hobie BOS event coming to Cayuga Lake, the same lake, I think on June 24th. So
dude, that lake looks so fun, dude. That's a bucket list for me.
It's a great fishery. Dude, honestly, like all the Finger Lakes, the fishing's fantastic. I think those fish just are so jacked up after winter and when the ice melts that they're just easier to catch. But Hobie BOS, I might have to make another trip to New York. Not sure. Looking into getting to Texas. I'm not sure if I'm going to get into any tournaments, but I'd love to get back to Texas in the spring. I say that every year. I just haven't been able to make it happen. So I'm hoping to get back to Texas. And one thing that's different.
I think Bass Nation, sorry to cut you off. I think Bass Nation is coming back to Possum Kingdom.
Really?
Yeah. I
Oh, I
can't
need
remember the date
redemption on
off the
that
top of
lake.
my head. Right?
Oh man, I missed that. I missed that by bad. That was the big old swing and a miss for me. That was a bummer.
Well, dude, when we were
But
there and you look at the Tourney X and there's like 115 inches in like the first hour, I was just like,
yeah, that lake is that's a great lake, great fishery. I'd
yeah,
love to get some redemption there. Really cool place to fish too.
yeah,
But actually, you know what? That was actually a tournament that may be up in the top three, top five sketchy weather. Remember that lightning? Or maybe
yeah.
you don't, because I think
I
you
was,
got
I
there.
was, I didn't get there. That was practice day.
Yeah, we had
Yeah.
torrential downpour. Basically, the only thing that was different was it was like 85 degrees and not 45 degrees, but it was pretty sketchy up there too. Um,
I'm probably the
but
only person you'll ever meet in your life, Greg, that will drive 20 plus hours for 4 hours of pre-fishing at the biggest kayak tournament of the year.
yeah, that was insane, dude. I don't know how you survived. I don't know how you're still alive after that. And I
Just
don't even know how you fished like awake. Like that's
literally
amazing to be
drove
honest.
completely straight through, got there and went out with Gene that same day and then fished the tournament.
Crazy. My
Yeah,
God. But yeah, I couldn't believe he did that. But you
it was
know,
fun.
he made it happen.
Good
Yeah, yeah,
times. Good times.
yeah.
So
But
anything other than Texas? Anything else?
I think I'll probably again. Who knows what exactly the tournaments will be like here? I'll cherry pick probably Delta ones, of course. I don't think we're going to Clear Lake in August, or we're not going to Clear Lake in August, which is always that annual Clear Lake West Coast Championship, Chris Laird Memorial, KBF event. I think that's on the Delta this year, so that's going to be really different. It's going to be
Uh-oh.
very strange. I know, which is a
Uh-oh.
shame
Ants
because
is
I
Ants is
think
licking his chops.
Nah.
yeah, but I
Yeah.
think I think Clear Lake will be good again because with all this rising water, you'd assume it'll be real good. Who knows? It is Clear Lake, but
Yeah.
yeah, Delta will still be fun. I think that'll still be a really fun event. And I want to do one thing that I need to do. I go to New York every spring, summer, whatever. I need to get on like some Lake Erie smallmouth. I need to go up for some big old brown ones.
That'd be sick.
I gotta get up there.
Some
So
some
that's the only other.
flatworms. Just take flatworms. That's it.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. That's all you need. Any drop shot bait, honestly.
Well,
So
Greg, man, it's always good to have you on. It's always good to see like what you're up to and to start the year off with that good of a finish. You got to be stoked on that. I hope you carry that momentum throughout the season. It's always fun to, watch your story as it continues to unfold in front of all of us. And best of luck this season, dude. I just want you to take a little bit of this time. I'm going to put you on the screen. Thank anyone you want to thank, and then we'll go ahead and bring Griffin here.
yeah, no, thanks for having me on, guys. Yeah, just shout out to all my buddies. The Dark Horse crew is we call ourselves. That's pretty cheesy, but it's true. That's what we call ourselves. Shout out to those guys. They make the trips a lot of fun. Good days, bad days, doesn't matter. They're always a good support system to have out there. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
All righty. Well, Greg, I don't want you to go anywhere just yet. I got a
Mhm.
question. I'm going to go ahead and bring Griffin here right now. But let me pull up this question because I thought it was a great question. And I told Griff and Greg that I wasn't going to tell them what it was. So that way we can kind of hit them on the spot and see what Greg
Boy.
thinks, kind of. So we'll see. Let me pull this up really quick so I don't get it. I thought it was awesome. Here we go. Ready? Let's bring Griff in
Ready.
here. What's
Hey,
up,
guys.
Griff?
Hey, thanks for having me on again, Shane.
Dude, yeah, it's always a pleasure to have you on. I remember when we were talking about, when you guys are all up at practice, I was like, you got to watch out for Griff. You got to watch out for Damien, Greg, like John, all these guys you got to watch out for. And then, of course, you and Greg come on top. And congratulations, man. That's a good way to start the year off.
Thank you. And congrats to you on the little one. And Anthony, congrats on the big deer.
Heck yeah. All right. So here's the question. Okay. And you can say no, of course. But the question is, you guys should both do, Greg and Griff should do a 1v1 on your YouTube channel, Greg, at Shasta before the end of the year and see who the real champ of Shasta is. even though you caught more, I know you caught more inches than him, but you didn't get into the Wild West. So 1v1, Greg versus Griff on the YouTube channel. What do you think, Greg? Putting you on the spot.
Hey, we can make it happen. I actually would like to get back up to Shasta in the spring, preferably. If we can coordinate it, if schedules allow, I wouldn't be against it. I love a friendly derb.
I think that'd be a pretty fun thing to watch because you guys are both the champions of Shasta. And then one question, Greg, that one of the people asked, how come you didn't get into the Wild West one? Just because?
You know, I looked at the schedule and I didn't think, dude, I tell you what, with the amount of tournaments out here in California, like it was just like adding up. I'm like, holy crap, there's so many of them. And I think this was the only one that I could have made. And then it's like, I'll just keep it simple. Just one tournament, one identifier. It's going to be nasty. We'll just, just keep, like I said, keep it simple. So I wish I had entered it. Now I look back, I should have entered it.
It's always like that looking back. Like even like when we went up to the West Coast Championship, it was like what, like $800 to get into everything that was there. And then like you think about it and you're like, if I have a day, I don't want to miss out. But it's always easy to say that once you win.
That's true.
Well, I will say, Greg, you did have more inches, so I will just say, you were the better angler that day. And if you don't want to go all the way to Shasta, we could fish one of those small East Bay lakes that I see on your YouTube channel one time, a 1v1 challenge.
There you go. That'd be fun.
I'd like to get some revenge on those too. Those are, they've got some fish in there.
Last thing, Greg, I know you get this question a lot, and then I'll let you go. Why don't you have live scope yet?
Yeah, put me on the spot, man.
Hey, I know Ray Marine doesn't have a live scope yet.
I don't have any Graf sponsors. It's not like that.
I know.
It's I don't know. I think I'll eventually get it. I'll say for this tournament, I don't know if it would have helped too much. Side imaging was the big player for me, and then just my down imaging. I fished the Delta quite a bit. That's shallow power fishing, and there's definitely times where I know I'll wish I got it. But right now, to be honest, it's a lot of extra stuff on my kayak. I already have so much freaking stuff on that kayak. You got to get another battery. There's more mods, more holes. I think if I'm gonna get it, it'll probably be on the next boat build. I don't know if I'll actually put it on what I have currently.
Ramel said no more equipment on Greg's kayak.
Yeah, Ramel. I gotta give Ramel a rest. He's it's not even a kayak anymore after what he's done. But
don't they still make a 13 Titan 13 or no?
I think they do.
There you go.
But I mean, I like the 10.5.
I know.
It's a good size for me.
I'm just giving you a hard time. I know you probably get that a lot, but it'd be cool. To see how you would use it. You know what I mean? So that's it.
Yeah.
It's just another tool.
Someday.
But you're winning without it, so hey, can't really say much else than that.
For now, we'll see.
For now,
I'll come back in a month and I'll have it all decked out. But
all right, man. Well, like I said, best of luck the rest of the season. I'm gonna go ahead and get Griffin, and we'll get the show rolling.
All righty, thanks, guys.
Later, man.
See ya.
All right, Grif. Again, congratulations on an incredible win up there. To start the year off with a W is always nice. Why don't you break down how you picked apart this puzzle of this crazy weather, and what was your deal, man?
Yeah, so starting with practice day, and as you guys and Greg were talking about, I feel like tournament fishing is all about maximizing your time on the water and the amount of rest you're getting as well. So for me, I didn't drive up Friday night, right? So I drove there Saturday morning. It's about a 3.5 hour drive for me as well. And I was looking on, deciding where to launch, and Jones Valley, the same the ramp that Greg had went out of, that was one of the closest ones, and just something like a little bit off the main lake and off the beaten path, and I'd never been there before. So I show up there, it's dumping rain. I had heard it's a 2-mile drive on a dirt road down to the launch ramp. So I mean, and it's really hard to find. So I was like, man, I don't know about this. I was there by myself, and then I see some local, in their truck with a bass boat behind them, and they go down this little dirt road, and I'm like, well, if they can go down, I think I can do the same. So anyway, I ended up being fine on that road. Obviously, a lot of people ended up launching out of there, but when you launch at Jones Valley, you're in the back of a creek arm, and it's like quite muddy, like chocolate milk water. And right before I left the house, it was like a last minute thing, and I said, well, I should throw some black and blue. Like I really never, I usually bring a ton of gear with me, and black and blues is something I don't throw all too often because we fish clear reservoirs up here. But I had that black and blue. I tied on a 7-inch Zoom Lizard, and I just started tossing that up shallow as I was coming out of the creek arm, and that's where I caught a pretty decent spot on practice day.
Sounds like Comanche all over again.
I always have a lizard tied on.
Yeah.
No matter what time it is or what lake.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I actually only caught that one fish on the lizard, and then just through practice day, it really wasn't a great bite. I ended up catching 4, but I probably fished for about 6 hours on practice day, and I'm a numbers guy, so I'm like, I think I can get a limit. So I had some confidence going into the tournament day, and then it just continued to rain that whole day, and I remember. We all probably lose a little sleep when it comes to the night before a tournament, but it was just so windy up at our Airbnb. We were staying at this spot like up on like Mount Shasta pretty much. And I remember it was 1 a.m. and I'm like, I don't know if this tournament's even going to happen. It was just blowing and our house was creaking and stuff. But anyway, they ended up delaying the tournament by 2 hours when we got there in the morning, which was like a great call. I was just sitting in my truck and the whole thing's shaking because of the wind and rain. So we had a 2-hour delay.
I didn't know they delayed it.
Yep. People were like I didn't have service out there. So luckily someone was like, oh, they delayed it by 2 hours and I didn't launch, but I felt bad because some people had already like put their boats in and then they're sitting there in the rain deciding what to do. But I hadn't unloaded yet. So I just tried to take a nap. But yeah, then going into tournament day, so I had some technical issues. I have the XI3 mounted, and I think I had just completely soaked my remote. And they are water resistant, but I'm pretty sure I had it just sitting in a puddle of water for a few days, so it didn't. I couldn't like pair my remote to my motor. So on tournament day, I didn't have like my spot lock or anything.
This is the perfect time to plug this in right here. Okay.
Yeah, please.
Always, when you buy an XI3, I know it's initially a lot of money at first. I know it's like $1,000 something bucks, $1,500 or whatever. Always buy an extra remote for this reason right here. Have an extra remote on you. It's just one of those things, especially if you're in this big tournament, you got to have that backup remote and a backup prop at all times. So life hack right there. Have an extra remote, Grif. All right.
I wish you told me that before. My extra remote just came in the mail today, and
have a little Ziploc bag with AAA batteries and a small screwdriver. Have it in your wherever you can store that, and always be prepared, especially on tournament day for sure.
Yep, no, that's a good call. And then, so to make matters worse, I kid you not, my graph wasn't turning on either. So I'm like old school. I'm just saying, all right, well, we just said, the time is so valuable on the water, so I wasn't going to go like troubleshoot it. And I caught some fish shallow in practice anyway. So I'm coming out that same Jones Valley Creek arm and just tossing up.
Sorry, what kayak are you in? So we can kind of visually know like your motor's out. Are you pedaling? So you're pedaling. Okay.
Yeah, just pedaling. Okay. So yeah, coming out of that creek arm and flipping the Zoom Lizard and that black and blue 7-inch Zoom Lizard, and I caught a 17 3/4 inch spot like 15 minutes in at 8:15, and there I was feeling pretty good. I'm like, okay, who needs a graph when they're sitting in a foot of water? I'm just gonna run that pattern for the rest.
Is that your little free rig deal?
Yeah, kind of like a T-rig free rig mix. Like sometimes when I throw the free rig, I will
a T-rig free rig.
Well, it's more like, so it's, I guess I call it a free rig.
And get your notepad out. Here it comes. Get your notepad out. Let's go. Go ahead.
So when I
T-rig
throw a free rig, I use like a bobber stop with like either a tungsten bead or something like that in between the lizard and the weight. But for like a T-rig, I usually I guess it's still called a free rig any way you want to slice it. But I didn't use a bobber stop or like the tungsten bead in between my weight and my lure. But instead of using a bullet weight, you just use a cylinder weight with instead of the drop shot like clip, right? It just has a circular hole, and it's so the line can slide freely through it.
Okay. Sorry, I still have PTSD when Damien told us that he puts a roboworm on his chatterbait. So that wasn't as bad as Damien's roboworm trailer on a chatterbait, but it was close. It was close. Yeah, that's still good. That's good. Okay. Yep. That's juice. That's a little juice right there. Okay.
Yep. So, well, I don't know how juicy it is because I didn't get bit for another like 4 hours after that. So, you know, you were talking with Greg a bit how like it can just change in a minute. So I was looking, I did get my graph turned on when it stopped raining and the waves like calmed down a little bit. I did get up and change my battery in my hole. So I got my graph turned on.
What kind of graph?
A Garmin 7-inch Garmin.
Live scope or no?
No live scope, just down scan and side imaging.
Anthony, I'm taking my live scope off. I don't need it. Go ahead.
So I'm looking down. It's 11:30, 11:45, and I had that one fish, and you know I was so confident in the morning after catching a decent spot that 17-inch plus fish at Shasta is pretty good. So didn't have anything, and then I got my graph turned on, and I move a little bit offshore. And I just stumbled upon this hump that was like a magical hump, and it was in about 30 feet of water, and it was like 50 to 60 feet all around it, and it was right in between 2 points, like kind of random, where unless you were really looking at your topo map or you just stumbled on it randomly, you really wouldn't think, oh, that's a spot where fish are going to sit. And then I dropped a Ned rig with a Yamamoto just single tail grub on the back of it. I call it a Ned grub. I just dropped that down, and I mean, it was like on after that. So in between like 11:45 to noon, I had filled up my limit with relatively small spots, and my smallest fish was a 12.25-inch fish. And then I backed up off that point a little bit, and as Greg talked about, like it was small rocks on the bottom. It was definitely a rock deal. If you were throwing towards the trees, like I wasn't getting bit at all. So and I definitely had to be making bottom contact and just dragging that Ned rig. And then once I got my limit, I switched over to the Kitech jig with a Yamamoto twin tail grub on the back of it, and was just dragging that along the bottom. And within a couple casts from that, on the same exact spot where I just caught at least 4 spots in a row right off of it, I got that big 19-inch largemouth, which ended up being big fish of the tournament.
Dang. So a Ned rig single tail grub.
Yep.
Wow. Have you been throwing that a while? Did you see someone throw that? That's kind of a random Ned rig trailer, or not trailer, but a bait.
Yeah. I don't know. I've been throwing that for a long time. Like the first tournament I ever fished in 2019, I think it was out of Berryessa, but I used to throw like grubs on a drop shot all the time. I just love a little grub. And then I was saying, or thinking to myself, like, well, why don't I just put it on a Ned rig too? But those things just get bit. I mean, it's like a drop shot, you know, you're not going to always catch the biggest fish, but if I'm trying to fill out a limit, like that's what I, you know, will start throwing.
Wow. All right.
Yeah. And then just a
single tail grub.
Yep. And then just to wrap up my tournament day, like, I feel like the whole tournament was just electronic issues for me because I didn't have service either on the lake, and I didn't want to risk. Like I knew I had a pretty good bag at that point, and I'm just like, I do not want to get DQ'd from not submitting my fish in time. So I end up like leaving that spot. I was still catching them, but just wasn't really able to cull after that 19-incher. And I ended up leaving my spot with I think like an hour and 10 minutes or hour 15 left in the tournament. And I didn't have a motor either. So I knew I had a long kick ahead of me, but it was a warm welcome since I was pretty like soaking wet from all the rain that day, and I just needed to warm up. So I had a long run back and ended up like having to drive pretty much all the way back to Reading to get service. And meanwhile, like the tournament was just ending and I was already back in Reading. So
wow.
If anyone has any suggestions on like a good mobile provider or a hotspot, let me know.
What's your mobile provider?
I have T-Mobile.
Oh, bro, come on. Come on now.
T maybe.
Verizon, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always hit or miss, but so for your efforts, I know that you were in both Wild West and Bass Nation. What did you end up taking home with you, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, I'm not sure on the Wild West front yet, but since I did get big fish in Bass Nation, I think it's around 2K or a little bit more from Bass Nation, and I think it'll be something similar like 2K from Wild West.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah,
That's a great
good way
deal.
to start the season for sure.
Yeah. Dude, so we're gonna kind of wrap it up here in a little bit, but for you guys listening, there's like 60 people on tonight, so I appreciate all of you guys tuning in. We're about to give away the black pack, but if you guys have any questions for Mr. Grif, go ahead and throw them up there right now. Ants, if you got anything, you can chime in too. But hold on really quick. Do you know this guy right here? Because he gave you I left it right there, but his name just had me dying, bro. And I hope he's talking about like kayak fish. Do you
I don't know
this
who
guy
that
at
is.
all? Okay.
I'm not
Well,
associating.
I think that's
dude.
Brad Alien's account right there or something.
That's a pretty good name for. I hope it's about kayak fish because we do like them long in the kayak, but that's
yeah.
it. So go ahead, Ants. Did you have something?
No, I was just tripping out on the color-coded books behind Grif right there.
Oh yeah, this is my wife's office. She's an avid reader and decorator, so she reorganizes it like every few months.
Your office. I was like, dang, this guy has color-coded books behind him.
No, it's my wife's office.
So Derek asked, "Do you have any other strange Ned rig baits?"
I think you could throw anything on a Ned rig. I mean, or just about, or on a Ned rig. Well, what I do is I get the small like 4-inch Yamamoto Senkos, and I cut those in like a third, and I make it super small, like literally an inch long. And sometimes that gets bit, but I love that Yamamoto plastic. And they don't make a Ned rig, right, Shane?
They do. You haven't seen it?
No.
Hold on one second. Let me see here.
Is that new?
I have it somewhere. Check it out.
Yeah, Shane's talking about baits that aren't even available to the public.
Yeah.
No, this is available. It's called the Ned Cinco floater, and it's got that floating technology. It's just pretty much like a small little Cinco. Let's see here. Look at. Check it out right there. Juice.
Ooh, okay. Yeah,
and it's got that.
Warren's Senko is a little bit smaller than that, but that looks good. I'll have to try it.
This is a 3-inch right here.
Okay.
And they float, so it'll stand straight up. So.
Right on.
It is a new deal. I've also like you said, you can almost throw anything on a Ned rig. It seems like.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be straight with you guys right now, okay? I've caught only one fish on a Ned rig because I always throw a Nico rig, and it's kind of the same if you think about it. But I just always throw a Nico rig, so I've only had one fish in my whole life on a Ned.
Wow. Well, on a Nico rig, aren't you you don't really throw baits that are as small as what you throw on a Ned usually, though, right?
Yeah,
sometimes you got a downside.
Dude, you can Nico rig a 3-inch.
Yeah, but do you Nico rig a 3-inch bait?
No, yeah, but you can though. You can.
He's saying you don't.
Yeah.
No. I mostly Nico rig like bigger stuff, and most of the time it's either like a regular Cinco or a 7-inch roboworm.
Right on. Yeah. Well, I probably only got one fish on the Nico rig, so
there you go.
Same.
Yeah. So let's see. We got a couple things in here. What pound test on your Ned rig?
7.
So you're throwing sunlight.
Yep.
That's Alex's little 7-pound deal that he likes to throw. Someone messaged me earlier. Did you fish at Chico or something about Chico?
Oh, I went to Chico, but
you went to Chico.
Yeah, I didn't. I started bass fishing at Chico and really started fishing out of Lake Orville, which is what Greg mentioned. But I was not on the bass team there.
Dominic Doan asked, "Have you seen the grub in the water? Does it stand up perfectly?" Probably
wouldn't
not.
pull it perfectly. No. It'll stand up, but when you're dragging it more like it's almost like a little craw or swim bait on the bottom, right? Or bait fish. It's not really standing up like a floating worm would.
We gotta let's do a little fun thing right now in the chat. Okay. Ned rig or Nico rig? Because a lot of people are going Nico. There's Ned rig or Nico rig. What do you guys think in the chat? And then RJ asked you what ounce Ned head.
It depends on the water depth, but for Shasta, I was using like a quarter inch or a quarter ounce, so pretty heavy.
Wow. Okay.
Because we were fishing in like 50 feet of water for the most part, so I wanted to get down there, and then you had to have some bottom contact too.
Okay, so let's see. We got Anthony. Keep track of this. I'm just kidding. Let's see here. When I said it, let's see. We got Nico. So Yak local Nico. Let's see. Johnny Valejas, Ned. Nico. Brad's the Ned man. You can Nico and XI3. Who is this guy? So we got Nico, Ned, Nico, Ned, Nico. So it's kind of one of those things like whatever you got confidence in. There's a lot of Neds though. Look at all these Neds. Ned. And then of course we got random C rig. Come on, we said Nico or Ned. All right. Ned for rock and Nico for grass. Ned rig with a tube. What's the biggest bait you've Ned rigged? If you say a 7-inch lizard, I'm gonna get off the show.
Well, I won't say that then.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, I'd probably say just like a larger or like a 5-inch Senko maybe, but I'm not a huge fan. Like guys will throw the big TRDs. I'm just if I'm throwing a Ned rig, I want to keep it small, and I'm throwing that Ned rig for a reason to have a small presentation.
Okay. Well, Ants, do you have anything as we wrap up this part of the show?
There's a question in the comments that says, was this the toughest tournament that you won?
Condition wise, yes. I'd say just the rain and all that, but like once I got on them, I felt like, oh, this is easy. Like I just happened to find a magical spot. I'd say one of the hard ones, like mentally, was I won the WWBT TOC on Clear Lake in 2019, and that was real tough. It was tough fishing conditions for Clear Lake, and it was a single launch out of Lakeport, and it's an area I'm not familiar with in Clear Lake, and it's a 2-day tournament as well. And I was in 4th place after day 1, but then came back on day 2 with a solid bag to win it. But that was just tough because our spot kind of got blown out on day 2, and there was like it was just me and my buddy Jay on day 1, and probably 12 people on the next day. And the funny thing is, it was 200 yards in front of the ramp, so it wasn't really a secret spot. But that was a tough one.
All right, man. Well, Grif, I'm gonna go ahead and give you the floor. Okay. I appreciate you coming on, man. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. I need to get some 7-inch lizards because every time I talk to you, it seems to be the deal. So I need to get some 7-inch lizards and start throwing that around.
Well, I'll send you a pack of those, and you can send me a pack of those new Yamamoto Neds. Got it.
You guys can buy those. They're on Tackle Warehouse. Yes, you can. They're on Tackle Warehouse. You can go on Yamamoto's website and buy them. They're ready to go. And then, since we're on the topic, might as well. These are new as well, right here. These are called the Yamacraws, and they got the same floating technology. Right now, they're only in a 4-inch. But I am stoked to be throwing these on the back of trailers. You can Nico rig this for sure. You could probably Ned rig this thing for sure. And these claws stand straight up because it's got that crazy new floating technology. So
yeah, those
are
great.
New as well. Yeah, you can throw those, or you can get those on Tackle Warehouse. Anthony, why don't you believe me? Why would I lie?
Because that's new packaging, but I don't know. I've never heard about that.
Okay. All right. So Grif, go ahead and thank anyone you want to thank, any sponsors, family, friends. I'm going to put you on the screen, give you a moment, and then we're going to come back on here. We got a ton of people watching. I'm super stoked. Appreciate all you guys' support, and we're going to give away a Black Pack Pro tonight. Grif, you can hang out with us, and we'll give it away to one of our lucky live listeners. So go ahead and take it, man.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks, guys. I just want to thank my family for being so supportive. My wife letting me use her office here, and putting up with all these tournaments that I'm going to fish this year. And then my main sponsor, Ducket Fishing. They make great rods, and just really thankful for them. But yeah, that's about it.
All righty, Ducket. Those are some sweet rods, man. I threw those for a minute. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and give away, courtesy of Yak Attack, we're gonna give away a Black Pack Pro tonight. So right now, just give me 1 second. Let me get this up on the screen. Let me go to the other screen really quick. So Grif, what's the hashtag gonna be? Hashtag blank. Go ahead and give us a hashtag, but when you guys hear the hashtag, just give me a second. But what's it gonna be?
Ned rig.
All right. Hashtag Ned rig. Let's do this. Start collecting comments. All right. Hashtag Ned rig to win a Yak Attack Black Pack Pro. Hashtag Ned rig. We're going to definitely give it a minute and let everyone get in. So let's go to this, share screen, share. Share. Can you guys see? Dang it. Can't really see that, huh? Wait, hold on.
What the?
Hold on.
Inside your internet browser, bro.
That's all right. Let's see. Present. Oh, stop screen. Share screen. Window. Come on. Can you guys see that or no?
Yeah.
You could just see that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll just do it like this. We got 54 entries so far, so we'll give it a little bit longer, and then I'll leave it up there while it does that. I don't know why I can't share it like I normally do, but oh well. I'll just leave it like this. Ants, you can hear me, right?
Yep.
Okay. Hashtag Nedrig to win a Yak Attack Black Pack Pro, courtesy of Yak Attack. And also, since we're on Yak Attack, they just came out with a brand new product called the Tow and Stow. It's a brand new cart that just dropped. If you guys want to see more info on that, you guys can go to their Instagram page. Right now, they did a reel about it. They put out a few posts about it. It's a brand new cart, super cutting edge. It breaks down. It goes in your front hatch or in your black pack. I think it can even fit. It breaks down super small. It's a really cool cart, you guys. So if you guys are interested in a newer cart, make sure you guys check out the Yak Attack Tow and Stow, brand new for Yak Attack. So it's always cool to see them kind of leading that industry as far as kayak accessories, and man, they do incredible work, and they also just support the kayak community like crazy. So always good to support those kind of companies. So, and they're all made in the US. All right, Ants, you think we're good? I don't really see anyone else. I got 54.
Okay, 54.
Okay. All right. Ready? Here we go. I'm going to draw. Here we go. Good luck. Let's see who wins a Black Pack Pro. Asian Mason is our winner. Asian Mason. Congratulations. If you can go ahead and message me on either Facebook or Instagram, that would be awesome. Give me your shipping address, and I'll go ahead and get that shipped to you. Yak Attack will send it to you. Just go ahead and give me a message, and we'll get you taken care of. Asian Mason, congratulations, man. Appreciate all you guys tuning in for tonight. So let me go back over here. Stop screen. All right. Anyways, guys, again, I appreciate it. Asian Mason, congratulations on winning a Black Pack Pro. Looking forward to the rest of the season. Being able to cover all these events is something that I'm passionate about, and I love being able to have the anglers on who won and give them, their time to share on this stage. And this stage is here because of everyone listening. So I appreciate all you guys. Again, Anthony, thank you for coming on as my co-host. Always a pleasure to have you on. Grif, Greg, congratulations on an epic weekend. The next tournament for California Bass Nation, if you guys are wondering, is Bullard's Bar, and it is going to be on February 19th. So registration is now open. You guys can head to their Instagram and check out the new Bullard's Bar. Also, really quick, I wanted to plug in the ABA Kayak Series is a go for 2023. We're going to have more of a local scene this year. We're going to have our first event out at San Vicente. I'm going to go ahead and pull it up really quick. It's going to be one-day events. We're kind of still dialing in all the specific details, but it's going to be a fun series. It's going to be local to SoCal just because there's so many reasons, behind the scenes as far as like businesses having to do certain things and make certain decisions. So what makes the right business sense for the ABA was to stay local, do one-day events for this season, kind of regroup after the Ironman, and do a local series for SoCal. It's going to be San V on March 18th, Lake Paris on April 29th, El Cap on June 17th, Lower Otay on July 29th, and then we're going to have a 2-day TOC at Lake Paris, November 11th and 12th. So that's going to be really fun. We got a lot of kind of new sponsors coming on board. And also we're going to be going back to Tourney X. So it's going to be an incredible series. I'm really looking forward to it. And hopefully we're going to be able to see you guys all out there. One thing that I will say tonight is that it's going to be a 50 angler cap. So 50 angler cap for sure on the new ABA series coming to SoCal. But anyways, again, thank you guys for tuning in with me tonight. As always, keep your thumbs ripped, and I'll see you guys on the next one.